And we're going to switch things up just a little bit and have a conversation about how women are shaping up the political agenda in the country and a lot more. Our guest is already seated and is soothing her throat. But before we get to that, let's hear today's proverb, CT.
And more so, I'd like to know what our guest thinks of the proverb from the Congo Republic. A portion that a man keeps for himself is usually not the smallest.
There's more.
Well, because Congo is still in those days that they believed men are the ones who have to women are properties and men are the owners. So you keep the portion and you'll decide who to give. And I would say that. But we are in a new dawn, a new day, where our mothers would share what is on the table, and our fathers would say, "This is for my daughter."
Voila.
Yes.
Where men are even leaving property to said women.
Yeah.
Okay.
And women are leaving property to men also.
She needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. Beatrice Elachi, good morning, and karibu sana to the Situation Room once again.
Asante.
You've been in the hot seat before, so clearly the conversation has gotten hotter since you were last here. So probably in this case, you might be bringing some of this heat today. You are an aspirant for the Dagoretti North seat in this upcoming election. But we also saw you on the podium a couple of days ago. We saw you on the stage. We saw you on the platform jubilating at the nomination of Martha Karua as Raila Odinga's running mate in the upcoming election. Let me just start before we even get into the nitty-gritty of the politics. What made you so happy? For some reason, I watched that and I looked at you specifically. You were extremely jubilant.
And her happiness was actually complete. You could see this is someone, it's like something they've waited on and they're saying, goodness, you mean it has actually happened. It's like they actually can't hold back the joy.
True.
Why?
It was a congratulations. You've seen the hand of the Lord.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Why?
A journey we started in 2002. Very young, energetic girls looking at Kibaki coming in, looking at Ngilu, Charity Ngilu, Martha Karua, Beth Mugo, Zipporah Kitoni. So like 8 women. And that time was NAC, Rainbow, Cecily Mbarire, Millie Odhiambo. And we thought, At that time, you could not express whether it's time for women or women can get into positions, but these women just inspired us. And so then we began a journey with Professor Wanjiku Kabira. Every day she would send you, go and train women in Ijara, go and train women in the whole of Kenya. And I remember one day going to Ijara in Sophia Abdi's constituency now. And I walked in to train women. But then because of the culture, the women were separated and the men were separated. The women were supposed to come in the morning and leave so that the men now can come in. And you know, when you come from our other side of Kenya, and now you've entered where they say, Ukusi Kenya, and indeed at that time, we didn't have a lot of TV stations, but there was Al Jazeera. And everyone was watching Al Jazeera. And you know, for us at that time, what are you listening on this Al Jazeera? Because, so then we sat, we trained. And I left there asking myself, will they ever see a woman lead them? And so when you see Sophia Abdi, and then now you come and see Martha Karua, nominated to be the first woman deputy president of Kenya. It is not an easy journey. And the lobbying, and you remember when we started wearing white and others started wearing maroon, and people would wonder, these women, have we gone mad? And I remember in our side, the Embrace women who were saying, we must push for this women's agenda. We must focus. We should not go into sideshows. We should not fight the men. We must focus until we achieve what we want to achieve. And I'm imagining then we went into the BBI and we had very high hopes that, yes, we shall achieve the 2/3 gender rule. But then after that, again, we felt. But then when Martha Koome came in that time, I think she gave us again hope that indeed, women are coming in. And then when you look at the judiciary and we realize there's a Chief Justice, a woman, the Deputy is a woman, and they are moving on. And we said, Kenya is moving somewhere. So that is why, for me, I felt all those trainings we've done since that time, the years we've walked, and just trying to do civic education. Women can do this. Yes, I know people will judge us. Oh, women definitely will be judged harshly. Already Martha's, when I look at Martha and this other guy, you find that you'll question Martha, but you don't have anything to question. But you'll make questions for Martha. Yeah, and yet this one, who has a history, which is a very interesting history and a very terrifying history, is okay. He can move on, he can slap, and he can continue moving on, and even slap by the time he's taking the seat. I mean, then you ask yourself, really? So that is how that journey of a woman is. And I think it's not just Kenya. France are celebrating their first prime minister after 30 years.
Yes.
America is celebrating Harris,
a vice president, a chief justice.
A chief justice. And so it is a moment.
One would think from this jubilation that is happening in the manner in which it is, that she's already in the seat. One would think that
I know
Raila Odinga has won the election and is still very far from that.
Yes,
but the celebration is as though the seat has already been gotten.
Well, one of the things would say is that is how now people will come to appreciate that it's important to work both men and women. It is important to believe, to appreciate that it's equity, not equality. And so she brings in that equity. She brings in some strength and oomph within the combination. And why people are celebrating is not that Baba has won. No. We are still looking for votes for Baba. We are still humbly requesting every Kenyan to believe in what Baba is saying, the third liberation and the last, by the way, because we shall never have anyone who will have such strength to push things for this country unless we come in now, young people, to pick, and it will take years. But then at the same time, celebrating just that joy of saying, it, regardless of everything, but at least he goes down in history that he looked and picked a woman. I think that is the joy that people have. That you go under the history, under the archives, under the annals, that yes, this man, one day, wherever he will be, people will read and say, he's the man who recognized. And not just Martha. By the way, when you look at many of the women who have gone through Parliament and even nominated, was through him.
Okay.
The majority of them is through him.
Beatrice, you know that things like this happen and then speculation is flying everywhere, in and out the window.
Yes.
One of the ones that has come through, and I'd like you to comment on that, is that he's done it just for that. He's done it so that folks can continue speaking for centuries to come that he made the decision to make a woman his running mate one. Not because he actually does feel that women can make a direct contribution or a probably much needed contribution to governance and leadership in this country. Where would you lie?
I would say this. Between all the men who sit on the table, I've been in Jubilee, I'm now in ODM. I would tell you, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga appreciates women, listens to women. If he listens to the men today, he wouldn't be having Martha, I'll tell you. But the women, everyone just went, lobbied, told him this and this. But he listened to that voice. He listens to the softer voice. That one I'll tell you. I know the rest. They, in fact, when you sit, they wonder, and now what is this one doing? Because if they were listening to us, many of them today would not be in what they are in today. I'll tell you. It's not that we don't tell our leaders. We tell them. We tell them in a very open way. But they look at you and wonder, so what are you trying to say? And then they go on and move on what the men, and then they find themselves in hell completely. And for once, because you can imagine the pressure, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Head, pressure from everyone, even the men we were sitting with. If you try and explain why we need the woman, they say, no. This woman will give the Prime Minister a heart attack. I said, but the Prime Minister has gone through hell before us. He's gone into heart attacks. He's come out of the heart attacks and he has moved on. You are the one who can just go into heart attack and go. But him, he has resilient. He has... and they would wonder, so which vote is this? Even that morning, everyone still lobbying. No, we think. But thank God, on this one, I think he just said, on this one, I will listen to the voice of my mother. I will stand firm. And you'll see, it will change so many things. I think it also changes on how Kenyans would feel. Are we really serious about reforms? Are we really serious? We want to change this country because we have to be serious. We have to show there's that seriousness. And I think the good thing with Martha, people might think she's very assertive. Yes, she is. But she has some consistency of what she believes in. And I don't think Martha will sit there and you start now thinking how this can happen and this. And I think that's what the men were fearing. But it will protect. It will protect.
Positions in power have this uncanny capacity and ability to actually change people. Martha was at the forefront, as you say, of one of these great revolutionary and life-changing movements that this country had towards multipartyism. Okay. Now, then the Kibaki government came in. A side of Martha that had previously not been seen was seen. There are those who argue it was a good thing. She took a position. You may not like it, but she took a position.
Yes.
And when things didn't work out, presumably in the way that they had agreed they would work out, she walked out.
Yes.
Okay. So that's somebody who has position, takes it, and moves along with it. But again, when you talk about change and you talk about what positions do to people, it's a discussion we've had with regards to our esteemed members of parliament, who many will swear are one person before they go into power. And you say, but this person was not like this.
Yes.
And then they get into power, and suddenly you're thinking, where did that person whom I knew go to? Because when they lose their position, usually, they then get back to factory settings. And you recognize the person again and say, yes. This is the person I used to know.
Yes.
Then there are those who said that money and power only magnifies who you actually are.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, I'll say this, and these are some of the things I think a few of us have learned as we move on. That 2013, you come in, you become a senator, and you move on. And I should always thank God. We've never changed. We are just the same person, same way of doing things, and that's it. And I'm praying to God, I should just remain that, because in the end, if one of the things, if you come and power and money corrupts you, it's because when you were walking in, maybe you didn't come straight within an agenda. And so you find things and you get excited and all that, and you forget it's just 5 years. It's a strategic plan. 5 years and gone. You either implement it properly or you implement it in the way you want, and people, what will they remember? That's one thing that I think that has taken many. But if you look at other leaders who have been there, they've been quiet. They just come, and they're there. They are just normal. Why? Because you have to understand it is your job, it's a work, and you move. Martha, the good thing with her, from the 90s, she has seen this power. The day's power was power. Leave now. Leave. There's no power now. Power was there then when they were there. And she came in. She has done, proud to her constituency, Gishogo, worked for them twice, I think 15 years.
Was it 15 or 20?
20 years.
Yes.
Then she walked out. Her head was still high. There's nothing you can pick there. And she moved to her next level. People would say two things on Martha. And that is where, because in the African context, we don't believe on what Martha does. Yeah, but in the European context where they talk about democracy, that's the right thing that Martha does. That when you feel, you resign. And I can see in Europe, it's not just, it's very, very small things by the way of integrity. Oh, yes. I was watching.
Kettle was left in an office.
Yes.
And moved to the new office and went with the kettle and says, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
It would seem as if I said kettle. Let me resign.
Yeah. I did a party, which many of people did in Africa when there was COVID, but now they are resigning. But in Africa, it was normal, and we are moving on. So you imagine those. So for me, one of the things she believes in is constitutionalism. Martha respects that. So I know people are thinking, oh, so will you walk out? On this one, she won't. She knows as per the Constitution. And I think that is why even it was rightful to bring back the constitutional docket to her, so that she can always remember that within this constitutionalism, I am not just a minister. I am a deputy president who is there to complement and support my president in what he's supposed to do. And so, walking out, on this one, she has no choice. She's going to swear the Bible. Not the Bible she used to swear in Parliament. No. The real Bible now saying...
So the one in Parliament is not real.
No, it's real. But you see people play around it.
Could explain why things happen the way in which they do.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
No.
In Parliament, it's the same Bible. Yeah. But the way we take things in Parliament is like... We are not serious. We take it as if we do it because it's like one of the norms that we have to do, which is very wrong. But for this one, in front of Kenyans and the world, they will expect her to really take Kenya serious. That is what I think she needs to... She internalizes. She knows. Martha is one person in her journey. You've started the steps correctly. Came from university, you became an advocate, came from an advocate, you moved to a judge, you moved, came back, get into the civil society, worked with us in the League of Kenya Women Voters, FIDA, and then you moved. And so I think she understands that terrain in how, where we've come and where people would want to see Kenya moving to. And for the issue of votes in Central Province, I think one of the things that people did not understand is that Central Province is a very interesting province. For them, the politics, this is the first time they have played politics for like 4 years in their history. There are people who come into politics just when you're about to get to the election, is when they realize, oh, so Kenya is going to an election, we need to put ourselves together. They believe more, we are working, we are on our farms, we are doing development, we are doing this. So they come in just the way other people will come in. And it's like the Europe style. So you come in because you just have to come in and elect your leaders. But for this time, I think they have been pushed so hard. Until now, they've realized, okay, so this is how politics is, which is good also, so that you understand why other areas, people engage in this politics, feel that things are not right, feel that. I think it is also a good lesson where you learn, why is it that area, that region, people just engage in politics? I think they've come to feel it. And now they will appreciate going forward that politics, you must engage for it to be good politics to bring you the development that you want. And so for Martha, was not just coming in. I don't think the Prime Minister just took Martha because of votes. I think there are many other key values he looked at before. Because if it's votes, I think Martha, across the country, everyone has a word for Martha. Everyone can say something negative, can say something positive. But most of it, I think, will be positive.
Meaning you can't ignore Martha.
You can't. You can't ignore her. So I think that's the most, I think for the women of Kenya, I would say, the men have given us an opportunity. Let us embrace that opportunity and let's see. Yes.
The gender conversation, sorry, Siti.
No, go ahead.
The gender conversation is still front and center. And as uncomfortable as the next thing I'm about to say may be, the fact of the matter is that with the selection of Martha Karua as running mate, it does not take away from the fact that this 2/3 gender rule conversation has still not been dealt with.
Yes. And I think...
are we going to forget that exists?
No. We are very alive of it. I think one of the things that I would say now, for example, in the ODM party, he made sure all the women who were vying in constituencies and who they looked at their polls and realized, yes, you're doing well in your constituency, were given direct tickets. It's not something that many of our colleagues, the male, have been happy about it. But then I think what the Prime Minister, and you can see, all parties were still pushed by IEBC that please go and ensure you have a 1/3 of women. The challenge with women also is that, yes, we are there, but I think the numbers are still less.
The numbers of women who can vote or the number of women?
The numbers of women who can vie.
Who can vie.
The numbers of women who can vote, we are now 10 million. 10 million women, registered voters. So the numbers are even there. The number of women who can vie. And the number, and yet, we are still in that pull and push of where men cannot believe you can leave this constituency for a woman. I would say the women who now were given the direct tickets is either you have vied and they could see your record, how you vied last time and all that, and two, you vied and you've won, you're still in parliament.
Which is something which puzzles me. Are we talking about women who have the ability to vie or women who are willing to vie?
Ability. But there are those who are willing, and they need that ability. So it is for the party to also look at both. I'll say, Siti, that if you just just say, okay, fine, those who have ability, there will be very few. But if the party is willing, and this now should start early. It should not come during the elections time, is when we are looking who is willing,
suitable
woman, who is ability. If the party wants to harness women, I think going forward, because they also receive money from the exchequer, it is important to have an academy where you start building your women from there.
Meaning the party should have an institution where you start training people right from their youth onward. Yes.
And you start building them so that they come in slowly by slowly. They'll be taking over and it will help. It will help. And I don't think we'll go into the issue of now you nominate, you'll find women having that ability to just go on the ground and vie. What I'll tell women, which I have seen and I know is something, it's good to say both the good side and the bad side. The bad side of us now women, and that's what I want to plead with women. Don't use your card, your vulnerability as a woman to make things work for you. It's wrong. Go there as a leader. Be a Martha there. Martha doesn't do things because she's a woman. No, she does it. Be a Martha wherever you are, from the ward level. Be firm. Go look for what you want and move. But if you want to use some tactics to play games for your vulnerability because I'm a woman. It's gonna also destroy what the citizens would. Let's be like our mothers. They have never played the card of being a woman vulnerable.
So I will find food for my children.
They go find food for their children, regardless whether you call her what you. But for her children will not sleep hungry when she knows she can move at this level.
You know, when you talk about the academy, Mheshimiwa, there's something that comes to mind.
I want to take a break, CT.
Why don't you take that break?
Let's take a break and have a look at weather and traffic, and then you can come and continue with that point. Cinder.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Kenya's biggest conversation continues. Nduoko and Siti Muga with you this morning, and we're joined by Beatrice Elachi in the studio, aspirant for Dagoretti North constituency in this year's elections. And we've been looking at the gender card and saying, okay, well, women now. So this is a question, and I know CT has a couple. Are we now saying that women are shaping the political agenda because of this announcement? Or have women not been shaping an agenda before?
Women have been shaping the political agenda since, I think, memorial. I mean, when you look at the history of women moving from Mexico, coming to Copenhagen, then the Nairobi forward, going to Beijing. I think they've come from far in shaping this agenda. You remember Julio Jambo was also a running mate for Stephen Kalonzo. And so in Parliament, you remember very well, we had strong women who took even now, who have been CSS, and they've been shaping that agenda. The main now agenda is how do you shape the agenda of women both from the grassroots so that you don't have a gap. And I think now that this is now what now brings every woman on board. Every woman now feels, oh yeah, and you go to the grassroots. By the way, you feel women were calling. Oh, the women from Turkana, a woman, Lorna, called me and she said, now is when we have started the journey for Kenya. So I asked her, Lorna, and in Kiswahili, she said...
Is this somebody you knew?
Yes. But she's in the midst of Turkana, from Lodwa, I think, to her place. She's in Turkana Central, ndani. So she tells me, Mama, Mungu anatupenda. Mungu anapenda Kenya. Sasa ndio tumeanza safari ya sisi sote kujisikia tuko kwa hii Kenya, mama. So then and then now a friend of mine, the mother who is in Madeira, she's our Shosho now, a mother. And she calls when she's with Shosho and she say, speak to Shosho, is very happy. So then, and I know Shosho is a person who loves her member of parliament completely. So she says, hey, in Kikuyu now, she says, now is when we have thought like grown-ups. So I asked her, sure, are you going to vote? Oh, yes, with all of us by 4, we will be on that line, we will vote. Then I realized, okay, the undecided vote. Even when I went to Karen, I was meeting a few friends. I met like 7 women they just called me, hi, Elachi, yeah. Now I think I'll wake up to vote. So that undecided vote is a vote now that is now, because maybe you remember last time when I was here, I said, many people will not be voting for the presidential candidates. Their deputies will be their determining factor. And at that time, I know City asked me, I said, yeah, many are not waiting they've already seen the president. They are waiting, who is the second. Those are the people who will wake them either up or you kill their ambitions completely. So I think the undecided vote now has a chance to say, yes, I can wake up to vote. or really. But at least we will see more people now having that inspiration to go and change their governance or just be part of the governance.
Mheshimiwa, one could argue, you are an ODM person. And so...
I hope I'm not speaking like an ODM person. I'm speaking like a Kenyan.
When you speak like a Kenyan and you belong to a party, the interpretation is you're speaking for the party. It's how people interpret it. And there's nothing you can do about it because they will think what they want.
I know, yes.
I want to go back to the time when you spoke about the possibility of an academy. The academy, in my mind, shouldn't be for women. It should be for both men and women.
Yes. Young people.
Yes, because...
Young people.
You then introduce people to the way both genders think and work from an early age.
Yes.
That is after school. So by the time they're actually going into elective politics, they have a fairly clear understanding of what the lay of the land is.
Yep, true.
And they will have an opportunity to participate in certain things. I mean, many political parties around the world have precisely that. They have a program for ensuring that they grow those who have an interest in politics. And it's from those ranks that they can actually determine, I think so it's about time that such and such a person was given a push so that they can actually move towards maybe taking a more important role.
True.
But what I find significant, this is what I wanted to ask. Our political parties still revolve around individuals. Yeah. Strongly so. Should this not also be a moment when political parties are grown so that political parties become the vehicle through which a lot can happen? So that even when the person who is considered the party leader isn't there, the party is still strong. Because what we see is whoever heads those parties, when they are gone, that party is also gone. Yes. There's something we saw in Kericho recently, something very unusual. Locals decide to support a candidate. His name was Dr. Eric Muntai.
Yeah. Malimu.
Yes. People gave vehicles. Yes. People donated money. Now, that was a unique, it was a serious, unique, and a wake-up call to the power that people have when they determine. Somebody who, in terms of resources, as we call it, couldn't compete with some of his other competitors. But because people had decided, the decision was it. What am I saying? When you have a situation where the party is supporting individuals, even those who ordinarily might not stand a chance, but they have the ability, stand a better chance when you have not just party support at nominations, but party support with resources.
Yes.
Don't you think it's time political parties, this party you belong to?
I think this party that I belong to
is
a party in 27. I'm hoping those who have been walking the journey with the party will evolve and become now an institution where it's no longer about the party leader. It will be, this is an institution. And I think the party leader would wish to leave an institution where anyone can pick it and lead regardless of where he comes from, but this party can stand firm with better pillars and structures. As you say, I have also a young man in Dagoretti North. This young man didn't have money. I didn't know him. Goes to the party primaries, and apparently women are the ones who have backed this young man because he works with orphans and the widows and everything. And now when they removed the incumbent could not believe. But for him, up to today, he thinks, maybe it is Mama Elachi who was removed. But he doesn't look at the numbers of the votes that people voted. So then I ask myself, and it's the same scenario. When now people decide, now this is the person we need. And I think it's the best way that Kenyans should move with, because you come out of, the only thing, and that's why we need an academy, is that by the time you're coming out, by the time they are feeling you, you also understand not the landscape, but also the different people that you're going to serve. Because one of the things that I think young people are finding a shock also is now when I'm supposed to meet Shosho, the elderly, and I'm supposed to speak to them at a level that Shosho will feel embraced. Shosho is not supposed to be taken, our elderly parents are not supposed to be taken so much in a hurry. You're in a hurry. And so all those things we need to start training. We need to start training people to understand. Go into a party and be loyal to a party. Because in Europe, people don't do primaries. In the US, you don't do primaries. It's from this academy that people pick you and throw you to their caucus. And they feel, yes, you'll be their leader. So primaries also, and you've realized for the first time, when we didn't do so much primaries, you reduce the conflict of how people fight. But then, because of people also not understanding, and it is time also, people must invest in these parties. You want to be a member of this party, invest in the party. That is the time you invest your time. That's the resource you give.
So we're talking about fundamentals.
Yes.
And one thing that is raging right now is the fundamental of integrity.
Absolutely.
So, and the EACC boss and his counterparts at the ODPP are saying a lot right now and saying, you know what, we're calling on Kenyans. Please, you guys should vote in people who are going to come in and make laws. Again, fundamentals. Who are going to make laws about how we can then fight this thing called corruption. Today, your colleagues, Beatrice,
yes,
people who want to be leaders tomorrow, some of them have a stain on the record. You said, we just talked about it a few minutes ago and said somebody's going to resign because they threw a party, and should they have been throwing a party during lockdown? They're resigning over that. But here we have many aspirants, office holders, who have more than a stain on their record, but are still asking for an opportunity.
But some of them have situations that can best be described as crimes against humanity.
I'm telling you. But here they are.
Yes.
I know.
When we're talking about fundamentals here, should we say that it's about time that the law be changed, or there should be a demand, even by colleagues, saying, come on, man, you can see how this thing looks. Can you just step aside for a moment? Let's figure it out.
You see, that is why when we were asking for the ministers to go back in Parliament, some of the things was that, you see, when you're a minister, we are colleagues. And I feel that indeed this you have wronged Kenyans. I mean, we will push you when you're in Parliament. But now you are in another office. You're so disconnected that first you're disconnected with the people. Then because the people don't understand, okay, fine, you were appointed. Yeah. Okay. Then, so they remember there's this other one who was elected. So everyone just believes this one elected is the one I feel more because you engaged in the process and you feel that process. I think for now it's going to be a bit better because they are engaging with the process. It's not like the first time, the first 10 years. I think for this, they're engaging with the process. So, and you have been maybe with the people, the governor. I think now it's changing a bit. But the best, as you say, by the way, for me, but that is why also, and I'm not saying in a bad way to even the judiciary, they have to also have, I don't know, even the judges. It's good to go back just for a small training at the government school to relook at the policies, because I think after we engaged into this new constitution, there was need of all of us to just go back and understand how do you come back and work together, government, the three arms together. Yes, you're independent, but because policy evolves around you, if it doesn't work, it will come to you. But before it comes to you, you just need to have that knowledge of saying, if this is for development for the people, and if indeed you have taken money that belongs to the people that was supposed to be for water, I don't need to see you in my corridor in court.
So they should
trying
step
to
down.
ask for justice.
So they should step
I
aside.
will tell you as a judge, listen, this, before we even think of how we are conversing in court about this, indeed money has disappeared. Under your docket, yes. And we can see it was supposed to go and help the people of down there to get water. You will have to step aside until this case is over. But you see, we left people until when you step aside and then you can go and vie again. How? Until you can destroy a whole institution. But then you can go back and become governor. I
Yes.
don't know what. No. And that is where the judiciary has to help Kenya, surely. Because even then, if they just were bold enough to look at the law as it is and say, we are here, public, it's called public resources. Please, we are not saying anything. We are not taking you to a jail now. We are saying, you step out of that office in and go, you will be coming here. The day we finish this case, we will decide whether you are right or wrong.
not.
But for now,
There's a gentleman called Francis Wanderi. He's a commissioner with the IEBC. We raised that question with him. We asked him. We asked him, look, there seems to be some discordance here. Somebody is impeached. They cannot stand.
yes.
You stand impeached until proved otherwise.
Proved it,
I said,
yes.
okay, now, why is it that it's different? When you have an MP, one court finds them guilty, and because they've appealed, they're now innocent. They've been found guilty.
Not, in fact, what is amazing right
Yes.
now, you are in court. You're in court. And you are giving me a public office.
Yes.
I am in court because of mismanagement of public resources.
In that docket that you hold.
And in the same docket, you are clearing me to go back there.
Yes.
How?
It's absurd.
Absolutely. And that is why it has to be an initiative of all of us.
That is
we
where,
must accept.
when you get to Parliament, okay?
Yes.
These are some of the things. Because when we talk to them, they tell you it's the law. Which
Which
means...
law?
They believe me.
No, it's the consciousness of a person. If indeed it's implementing
You
chapter
do not
6.
believe that it is the law. No. Chapter 6, we've been told repeatedly, that thing, it's a sieve. So if you're trying to collect water with it, nothing will happen.
Nothing
You
will
might
happen.
be engaged
Yes.
for some time.
No.
It will never.
But for me, and that's why I'm saying it's important just to have that consciousness of saying, as a person now, see, I'm also a Kenyan. I would have wished to see a better road. I would have wished to see water to our people. I would wish in this 21st century, we are seeing Kenya at a different level. And I think that judge or magistrate will want to see good things, honestly. So it sometimes, because nobody will question you. Where will you run? If I tell you as a judge, I think you just need to step aside. Have I done wrong? No. The law is very clear. Why is it that? And that is where the judge has to look at. Why is it that when a public officer, a civil servant is taken to court, he steps aside? What's the difference? I was using the same public resources.
Do you
Absolutely.
remember?
So the judge has to just be firm and say,
Justice Mumbi Ngugi did precisely that
yes.
with governors and said, my friend,
And then there was a whole fiasco of interpretation of
and
what
so
she
forth.
actually
Yes.
meant.
Yes, but
see-
the lawyers now.
yes, but also the argument is there's lack of clarity in some of these things, in that very, very law. So you'll find someone quotes this statute, someone quotes this article, someone quotes, so it becomes a circus. So us simple people are confused because
But
now lawyers talk among themselves,
yes.
talking lawyerese.
For me, the
Yes.
judge is the savior.
But we have cases, there's hope.
Yeah.
There's a magistrate in Mombasa
Yeah.
who did precisely what you're saying.
Yeah.
A couple was brought before him. A bale of wheat flour was in question. He looked at the question and said, no, folks, you've been in remand. That's it. Done. You people needed the food. In fact, I'm beginning by taking out money from my pocket
Yes.
and giving.
And giving.
And
Yes,
giving.
and then the rest
Yeah.
of you people give.
Give.
Now, you see,
Yeah.
today we're talking about Justice Odunga and what he's saying, no, this Sexual Offences Act. No. We need to have a different premise for it.
Yeah.
Beatrice Elachi,
Thank you.
thank you. I mean, there's the conversation can go on for years,
I know.
days.
But I just need to tell Kenyans,
Mm.
I am vying integrity now. And this propaganda, you see, when you have colleagues who you're competing with, and the only thing they would wish to do is use the internet and propaganda, I think it's very unfortunate. But then it's competition. And my
What
prayer
is
to all
expected?
Kenyans that now that we are candidates, why can't we just go and look for votes?
Yeah.
And stop using so much propaganda, confusing Kenyans. And by the way, Kenyans call you and they say, then you wonder,
Where
I've
did this
already
come from?
gotten a nomination certificate that reads you are vying here. You can't change. Where are you getting this other one? I don't know.
I don't know.
But I just want to say in Nairobi, I think it's important to just say Igade and Kaloki, our governor and our deputy governor.
Thank
and
you.
we are going to support them.
Asante sana for that.